What's going on, everybody, and welcome to episode 76, Fallout 76, the Game Room Podcast. I'm Rome.
And I'm Dev.
Dev, it is finally September. We finally made it. We made it. The summer's over.
Yep.
Fall's here.
It's here.
Football starts this week. The big game releases, are going to be starting up in the next... this week there's a big release from PlayStation. It's the best time of year on. Honestly, like September through December, the best time of the year.
I think I agree.
And it gets better as we get closer to the end of the year. Like I think October, December is best, and then November, December is best, and then that's just me though. But yeah, so it's been a really jam-packed week in video games, especially because we had to delay the show due to the holiday. Man, today alone, a lot of news, but we're going to get into all that. Again, this is the Game Room Podcast, where every week we get you caught up on last week's news and some of the headlines that happened today. So that way you're ready to go into the week. I forgot, I wore my tricorn short. Tricorn.
Yeah.
Tricorn. I always bust it out in the fall. But yeah, this is the Game Room Podcast, and let's get into the headlines. Number one, our main topic of the show is Concord, PlayStation's biggest failure ever. So, before we get into today's news about Concord, I am going to talk about the news that I had planned yesterday.
Okay.
And that was about Concord's sales numbers. According to an analyst, Concord may have only sold 25,000 copies. In a recent breakdown from industry analysts, it was estimated that Concord, Sony's floundering multiplayer shooter that was just released, may have only sold around 25,000 copies. It's been the talk of the town since it came out 14 days ago, with Concord being released to a woeful reception and barely scraping up an all-time high player count of 697 players on PC. That was the highest that they hit on PC.
Yeah, that's crazy.
At the time of the publishing of this article, which was Sunday, just 82 people were playing Concord on PC. 82, double digits. And an analyst from Circana mentioned that when the game was released, fewer than 0.2% of active PS5 players were on the platform. In the figures handed to IGN, it was suggested that on Steam, around 10,000 copies of Concord had been sold, while on PlayStation, around 15,000 were estimated to have shipped. Offering a key insight into shoddy performance, Circana's Matt Piscatella, who we've quoted here before, explained that Concord has low awareness and purchase intent among video game players. Basically, nobody knows it exists, and they don't want to buy it if they do. With Concord being a new IP, it didn't have an existing fan base to pick from, and starting from scratch needed an intense marketing campaign.
I agree with
that. Just wasn't there for Concord. Now, Dev, I think I would classify it as a rant. I ranted about this last week where I criticized PlayStation and Sony for never committing to something. They never want to fully commit. They want to have their hands in all the pots and all the cookie jars, but they never want to double down on something and actually commit to it. I pointed to the PSVR 2, to the PS Vita, to really PlayStation's history outside of their first-party software initiative. They have not really stuck with anything that they've ever really done. Again, outside of their core software. So my question to you is: do you think that rings true here with Concord, where obviously we're going to talk about today's news, but there was no marketing for Concord? and like barely. Like I didn't see any marketing for Concord.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. There hasn't been, and that sucks. Unfortunately, like again, I don't think the game itself is bad. I don't think that's where the failure is. I think the failure is everything else around it. It being a new IP, them not putting it into advertisement, making the game $60 instead of free to play. Like, yeah.
So that was what we were gonna. That was gonna be it that we were gonna talk about, and just be like, well, Concord's gonna continue to struggle, and best of luck to them. However, today, September 3rd, PlayStation on their blog put out an update about Concord. They said, Concord fans, we've been listening closely to your feedback since the launch of Concord on PS5 and PC, and want to thank everyone who has joined the journey aboard the North Star. Your support and the passionate community that has grown around the game has meant the world to us. However, while many qualities of the experience resonated with players, we also recognize that other aspects of the game and our initial launch didn't land the way we'd intended. Therefore, at this time, we have decided to take the game offline beginning September 6th and explore options, including those that will better reach our players. While we determine the best path ahead, Concord sales will cease immediately, and we will begin to offer full refunds for all gamers who have purchased the game for PS5 or PC. And then they go on to tell you how you can get your refunds based off of where you purchased the game. If you're trying to figure out how to get your refund, check out the PlayStation blog. Once refunded, players will no longer have access to the game. We'll keep you updated, and thank you again to all the free gunners who have joined us in the Concord Galaxy. And then PlayStation also lets you know that your refunds through the PlayStation Store may take up to 2 months to to show up. So, we find out that it's being delisted today and going offline in 3 days on September 6th. Now, I do think that I am going to say that this is PlayStation's biggest failure of all time. I
don't know. They've had some.
I guess.
I guess in recent years,
the PSVR 2 was probably a bigger failure because they just didn't support it at all. But we're talking. This came out 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Under 1,000 players, like a complete failure. On Sunday, they had double digits player counts on a weekend. What went wrong? Like we were talking about, I think that there was no marketing to speak of.
Mm-hmm.
So you weren't going to attract new customers. You were getting into a very loaded genre with the hero shooters where, like, you have Overwatch, Marvel Rivals is making a big splash right now. Like, it's a really crowded landscape, and all of those games are free to play, and you're trying to sell this game at $40.
Yeah.
It doesn't stand out. You didn't try to introduce it to new customers. You're charging $40. And this is the thing. We talk about, like, maybe lowering the price or going free to play, and maybe they will in the future, but, like, they had a free open beta, and nobody played that. So, like, I do think the price point killed it, but also, I just don't think there's interest in this game at this time from PlayStation. I just don't think it was a good call by them to double down with the live service model. Helldivers was a big success for them earlier this year, but Concord definitely the exact opposite. What would you say is really the nail in the coffin? Is it the marketing? Was it the price point? If you had to kind of like pick one thing that it really comes down to for you, why do you think Concord failed?
I think the thing at the very top of the list is it being $60. $40. Yeah. Being $40. So many people would try it if it was free, and like word would get around. Hey, this game is good. Yeah. Hey, this game is good. Check it out. Maybe we're tired of the hero shooters we have. Let's move on to something else. But telling people to commit to a $40 multiplayer only game is, I don't know. That's.
Yeah,
in today's world, that's crazy.
Yeah, you're just shooting yourself in the foot in so many different ways. So many niches you're kind of eliminating to a point where it's just like, who is this for?
Yeah.
Just like what PlayStation does best, what's gotten them to where they are as the market leader is stunning first party software, right? And a lot of it is narrative based, narrative driven, single player. Like that's That's what's gotten them to the dance. And if I were them, I would really urge them to not stray away from that. I mean, like that's your bread and butter, and clearly this is not your bread and butter. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Like, it's definitely fascinating to see, because I mean, something that Xbox is one of the few things that we could say that Xbox is I think strongly has done a much better job at is making these live service experiences. Yeah. I mean, you look at Sea of Thieves. We talked about it last week, where they sold 1 million copies on PlayStation for Sea of Thieves. You know what I mean? Like, that's a live service offering from Xbox, and I mean, maybe not every live service offering from Xbox is a hit. I mean, Halo Infinite kind of like simmered out. You know what I mean? I mean, even though they just came out with an update, I think the other day, they're still going.
Yeah.
It's just not a huge hit, but yeah, I mean, I guess this is where we leave Concord. Do you think we ever see Concord again?
I mean, I have to imagine you do, right? Like, I don't think you throw the game away entirely. Maybe you change some mechanics and make it free to play.
I think the same thing. I mean,
is it that expensive to have it up and running? I don't know.
I mean, servers, maybe. I mean,
make it free to play.
If nobody's playing it, is it worth it? I don't know.
So I'm saying you take it away, work on it a little bit, make it free to play. Maybe add in some. I mean, it's still one of your games. You can add in, like, you know, God of War arm or clothing, or you know what I mean. Like, spice it up a bit and then try it free to play.
I think that might be their intent. I mean, if you read the PlayStation blog, it seems very. Ty says Concord is finished. It's done. It's a tax write-off. Which actually, that might be the case. PlayStation might just can it just to do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could see them possibly, like, again, the intent, the wording of the PlayStation blog definitely has some intent there, where it's like, hey, we'll update you in the future. Like, we're going away. Like, see you later. It could happen.
Yeah,
I could see them maybe showing up like next year and being like, hey, we're back. We're free to play. We have a lot more content. We've reworked how our game works to be more in line with what the genre is. We've got some marketing behind it. There's a possibility. If you ask me the percentage, I think it's 30-70 though. Okay. I think it's definitely a pipe dream. Ty says at this point it's a sunk cost. Working on it would cost too much. Tax write-off, you get your money back, and you can close down the studio. That's what Ty wants. Ty's like, hey, make more money, fire everyone. That's the shareholder way.
He might be right though. That might be what.
That's probably what they're gonna do. It really sucks, but I think Firewalk is.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. It really is, but it's what it is. So, you know, rest in peace, Concord. Someone should come up with a meme of like things that lasted longer than Concord. Like the great PlayStation Network outage of 2011. Damn. When we were in high school and they were out for like 3 weeks. Like that lasted longer than Concord. Well, anyways, that's Concord. Let's move on to number 2 in the headlines. Ty says, if I'm an employee at Firewalk, I'm applying for new jobs now.
Yeah, he might be right.
Yeah, leave Firewalk off your resume though. It's like, what happened for the last, like, 8 years or whatever? It's like, you know, I was just working. What were we working on? I don't want to talk about it. Number 2 in the headlines. Dev, I want to get into this Black Myth Wukong exclusivity story with you. It's been kind of crazy, actually. So, obviously, we've talked about Black Myth Wukong in the past, where the Xbox version, out of the blue, was mysteriously delayed, like, very subtly. They took the Xbox branding off their trailers. When asked about it, they then said it was delayed. Well, we've been getting some news. Black Myth Wukong isn't on Xbox yet due to a secret exclusivity deal with PlayStation. The following comes from Paul Tassi at Forbes. Quote, this is one of the stranger sagas of console exclusivity that Paul Tassi's seen in quite a while. And now he's received new information that he considers the final word on the situation as to why Xbox does not currently have Black Myth Wukong available, while the game has already launched on PC and PS5. A source with specific knowledge of the situation has told Paul Tassi that, contrary to previous reporting, and even departing from Game Science's own statement, The reason that Black Myth Wukong is currently not on Xbox is... Oh, an ad just fucking moved everything. Sorry. Is not on Xbox due to an exclusivity deal, not because of some technical issue causing a delay in the release of the game. IGN has also confirmed this information. This is actually also new information, but Eurogamer, since we about an hour ago, Eurogamer has backed up his reporting and said that yes, we can also confirm that it is not due to technical difficulties, which the developer said was the reason that they were delaying the game, was that they couldn't get it working on Xbox right now.
I'm kind of glad it's not that. You know what I mean?
Me too. But again, there's a lot of shit going on here. So let's continue. Let's see. So Paul was not told the duration of the exclusivity deal, but it does not appear to be permanent. It's also unclear as to why this has not been publicly disclosed, as these sorts of deals are usually public knowledge. Again, this also runs contrary to what Wukong developer Game Science said. This is the original statement from Game Science. We are currently optimizing the Xbox Series X and S version to meet our quality standards, so it won't release simultaneously with the other platforms. We apologize for the delay and aim to minimize the wait for Xbox users. We will announce the release date as soon as it meets our quality standards. Okay. So that's what the developer told us. That very much indicates a technical problem, but Paul is secure in his sourcing that the reason is instead exclusivity. He says, I'm attempting to clarify why Game Science made this statement if such a deal is in place, and why it's being apparently kept under wraps.
It could be both.
Yeah. Instead, an exclusivity deal is much closer to what Microsoft had said. So this is what Microsoft had said previously. We've talked about this on the show, but just to keep people up to date, they said, we're excited for the launch of Black Myth Wukong on Xbox Series consoles and are working with Game Science to bring the game to our platforms. We can't comment on deals made by our partners with other platform holders, but we remain focused on making Xbox the best platform for gamers, and great games are at the center of that. Now, again, this was said way, we talked about this 3 weeks ago. And we talked about it then, where Xbox's wording here was very interesting, where it says, we can't comment on what other platform holders are doing with our partners.
Yeah.
But, why would you wouldn't say that if it was your platform? That's the problem. That statement, citing deals made with other platform holders, as we just talked about, very interesting wording there. So that was the news that we had before today. Again, today, busy news day. Now, there was an interesting thing about this story, Dev, where there was actually dueling sources saying, conflicting each other. And these are all people that we've quoted on the podcast here. So, Paul Tassi and Jez Corden both say that they've heard the same thing. That it was an exclusivity deal with PlayStation, and that's why the game's not on Xbox. Mm-hmm. So, Windows Central, Forbes are saying this. Special Nick from Xbox Era and Jeff Grubb from GamesBeat, or Giant Bomb, are saying the other way. Jeff Grubb said, no Sony money marketing deal keeping the Black Myth Wukong off Xbox, says Jeff Grubb. He says there was a misunderstanding around this stuff. Jeff says he heard Sony only paid to help get the port done. No exclusivity, Special Nick added. So they're hearing otherwise. But Paul goes on to say, I have a lot of respect for Jeff and Nick. I would not have published without what I consider to be an extremely authoritative source. Frustrating to not be able to say more, because obviously it's a source, you can't really say much more.
Yeah.
The situation has been described to me as bizarre, which I certainly can agree with at this point. He says, based off what they're saying, it seems possible a temp exclusivity deal was done for paying to get the port done on PlayStation side without paying for a traditional marketing deal. Clearly, marketing is not involved, specifically told it's not a tech issue causing the Xbox delay.
Okay.
So his source is saying, they're saying it's a tech reason, Xbox is saying, or his source, which I would assume is somewhere in Xbox, maybe not. That might not be 100% true. That's an assumption. But his source is saying it's not a tech issue, it runs fine on Xbox, there's no problems with it.
If anything, that sounds like something more on PlayStation or Wukong's developer side. He's getting this.
Maybe, yeah, that's actually a good point. That's why I kind of backtracked a little bit there, because that was a big stretch for me.
But this is all hearsay, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So what happened today was we got a Microsoft clarification. So this is a official statement from Xbox, from Microsoft today. In a statement given to Paul Tassi, once again, by a Microsoft representative, the company has confirmed that the delay of Black Myth Wukong is not due to technical issues. So now Xbox is officially saying this delay is not due to technical issues.
Okay.
They say, as we've said before, we're excited for the launch of Black Myth Wukong on Xbox Series consoles and are working with Game Science to bring the game to our platforms. We prefer not to comment on the deals made by our partners with other platform holders, but we can confirm that the delay is not due to Xbox platform limitations that have been raised to us. So that means Xbox is like, I don't know, whatever if they're saying there's an issue, we don't see it. Like, we're not seeing it when we're working with them. Again, the report was corroborated by IGN and now Eurogamer. There were some industry insiders he also talked about, which we already talked about. So I've kind of laid it out for you, what everyone is saying. What do you think the situation is? In your opinion?
I mean, I have to believe Xbox. I know the Series S has been a problem in the past.
Right.
But I have to believe Xbox when they say it works fine on their consoles.
Yeah.
And I'm going to believe that.
Yeah.
It just sounds like it's a paid exclusivity deal. Like, I mean, plain and simple.
Yeah. So I mean, I completely agree with you. I mean, obviously, I've talked about my displeasure with exclusivity deals, and I really just got to say that I think that this is, without a doubt, the absolute fucking worst thing I think PlayStation's done in terms of these things.
Not at all.
You don't think so?
No.
You don't think that the perception... So, okay, hold on. Let's back up. So I want to lay it out for you why I feel this way. Maybe you understand. Maybe you'll disagree. I don't know. So the game was announced for all platforms. Again, let's talk about perception. Just strictly perception. Not what the sources are saying. Mm-hmm. Perception. So the game was announced for all platforms. And then about a month before release, the Xbox version gets infinitely delayed. Mm-hmm. They don't give us a date. They say technical issues are causing us to not be able to put the game on Xbox. PlayStation and PC, good to go, though. You don't think that there might be a perception there that it makes Xbox look inferior and like, oh wow, okay, this machinery, this hardware over here, it can't run this game, but PlayStation can run this game.
Yeah, I think so.
Like, that's where I'm looking at it.
But Sony's not the one that came out and said it. But the game developers are the ones that said it.
But it's even worse that PlayStation's not disclosing this. When the developer's not disclosing this, like, this is extremely shady stuff. Like, here's the thing: when Final Fantasy gets the exclusivity treatment, at the end of the trailer, it says exclusive, timed exclusive, whatever.
Yeah.
We can disagree on the fact that whether that's right or wrong, right? We can disagree. That's fine. You don't think that that's kind of shady that like the two parties that did this deal are not mentioning it anywhere, and the developer is saying this bullshit story about it being hardware technical difficulties?
Yeah,
that's where it comes with me, where I'm like, this is just completely disgusting. It's a shady, slimy business tactic, and it's like we could disagree about whether timed exclusives are fine or not. Like, that's not really what I'm arguing here today. What I'm arguing here today is like this is the next level. You are openly, not only are you trying to keep a game off the other platform, you're trying to make it seem like that platform is lesser than yours, inferior to yours, when really it's running fine on Xbox. And we have other stories today that are going to like kind of be negative Xbox stories where Xbox is making mistakes. Xbox is not perfect. We've talked about it every week. But like this story specifically, like Black Myth Wukong is one of those big hits this year.
Yeah.
And it's the only reason it's not on Xbox, we don't have a clear answer because the developer is saying it's a technical issue. Xbox is saying it's not a technical issue.
And PlayStation is saying anything.
Sources are telling Paul Tassi and Jez Corden it's not a technical issue. They have a deal with PlayStation. PlayStation's not saying anything about an exclusivity deal. Like, that's where I come into that, where I'm saying, like, this is just all around scummy business. It's really scummy business. For me, this goes beyond, like, if you argue timed exclusives are just competition, I won't really push back on it. Like, I may disagree a little bit. I do think it's a little underhanded. But okay, like, I'm willing to concede on that point where, like, it is competition and fair is fair. I don't see this as fair competition. I think this is really underhanded, really scummy, really shitty thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, the developers, if it's not a technical issue with the console, the developers shouldn't say it is. Mm-hmm. But
why would they lie?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Unless they were getting paid.
But either, yeah.
But like what's...
But you can get paid and not lie. You can just say, hey, this game, PlayStation paid for exclusive.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, but they are not doing that. That's not what happened.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the part that I think is the grossest about it. But other than that, it's like, it doesn't change anything. Like, you still can't play this on Xbox, whether it's paid or technical issues or...
Yeah, but it's still... It's the principle of it for me.
I think they should... If it's going to be exclusive, just say, hey, this is exclusive. Like, I don't think that's... In today's world, that's not really a big deal anymore. Especially when it comes to Sony. Like, just say it.
Yeah, Ty says, and I actually think I agree with Ty. He says, my take is, Xbox said this because they reached out to the team to help them with any technical issues that they had, and there was none. So the delay is likely due to some timed exclusive. I agree. That's probably what happened.
It could also be, from what I've heard, from what you read before, Sony paid for the port for PlayStation. And it sounds like Microsoft didn't, whether they weren't offered, like, hey, there's something going on there with money, where Sony paid for...
Something.
Yeah, paid for something. Even if they just paid for the port, and Xbox didn't, maybe that's part of the issue too.
I still think it's scummy. I think it's really shitty. It's extremely underhanded.
Just say what happened. Like, I don't think...
Just be real.
Yeah, that's all.
Just be fucking real.
Yeah. It doesn't change anything. But
then again, at least people know. The developer doesn't want you talking about, feminism or politics or your game. Honestly, at this point, just fuck this game. I don't even care. When it comes to Xbox, I'm completely skipping it. I have no interest in this.
That stuff, to me, that stuff doesn't bother me. Like,
no, I know, but more so the exclusivity stuff where it's like, okay, well, it's like, I'm not going to support your game. I'm choosing that. I'm actively choosing that.
I get it.
I'm not supporting your game. So that's what's going on with that. Anything else before we move on? No? Okay. Number 3 on the headlines. Star Wars Outlaws early access happened last week, Dev. Players, they didn't have a good time. So there was a day 1 patch for Star Wars Outlaws that came out, I think the day before the actual game came out. Now, the early access had players, it was 3 days early access. There was a patch, on day 1 patch, and Ubisoft had all of the Star Wars Outlaws early access players, it forced them to start with new saves, and they lost all of their save data from the early access that they paid extra money for.
Damn.
The access kicked off for Gold and Ultimate Edition players. They had 3 days early. The progress made during this time has been wasted as developers have asked players to update the game with the day 1 patch and start fresh with a new save. After the new patch dropped, Outlaws, Gold, and Ultimate Edition players on PlayStation 5 were sent an email stating the best way to experience the Outer Rim was to play the latest version. The developers added that the players on the previous version of the game might be experiencing some issues due to the newest patch. So you have PlayStation saying, make sure you update, make sure you do it.
Yeah.
And Ubisoft's like, guys, this new version gets rid of a lot of these bugs. So of course you're going to update.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And then you lose all your save data. The whole reason, a lot of players paid for this early access, which it was like $100, I think. I think the special edition was like $100.
Yeah, that's rough.
So now they had to start all over again. Real shitty stuff. Greg Miller, who had the early access, I think, or he shared this. So Greg said, "Great news! If the Star Wars Outlaws patch broke your save and you lost all your progress, they're giving you something for your troubles.
Okay.
They're giving you a trinket for your ship." For when you replay all that stuff that you lost, that you'd have to do again. Oh, they also give you some Ubisoft Connect units. This was an email that someone received. Said, we are following up on the previous email we sent you regarding issues with an outdated version on PS5. We fully acknowledge that asking you to start a new game is not the best experience, especially during early access period, and for that, we apologize. To make your return to the Outer Rim a little more special, we are granting you an in-game Trailblazer trinket, as well as 100 Ubisoft Connect units to redeem for in-game rewards, for example. We are actively working on adding the Ubisoft Connect units to your account so you can use these as soon as possible, and you can collect the trinket from the delivery crate in the back of the Trailblazer once you reach Tashara.
I mean, it sounds like, okay, you get the Ubisoft points and you can use those in-game to buy cosmetics or whatever. I guess that's fine. It's just a lot of extra steps for something that you didn't even ask for. That sucks, but...
So, my thing, right, is and I really agree with Ty's... I disagree with what Ty's saying, and I'm going to get to it in a second, but my thing about this is, this might have me scarred. Because, like, this isn't pre-order. We're not talking about pre-orders here. I think Ty doesn't understand that. We're talking about people who paid for early access. To me, that's not the same as pre-ordering. That's saying, hey, we will bump your release date up 3 days so you can play it early.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a pre-order problem. I don't know if I'll ever do early access for anything ever again. Knowing that I couldn't even in my wildest dreams imagine paying for early access for a game, paying an extra $100, and then losing all that. Oh no, yeah. I can't even. I don't even know what I would do.
Man, that's rough.
Yeah. Ty says. Ty said, "What do you think is bigger win? Power World, Game Pass, Xbox exclusive, or Wukong PlayStation?" I don't know. Power World was really big at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, but I think it's died down at this point. But I think Wukong is Game of the Year contender.
Yeah, that's fair. Ty says, Star Wars players, 2 feelings. This sucks for those players when especially they paid in advance. However, these suckers, how many times have I said it? You pre-order that's on you. Again, I disagree because we're not talking about a pre-order here. We're talking about early access.
Which I also feel
that's just a different release date.
I also feel like it's insane for a single-player game to pay that much more for early access. Like, you're going to get what? You're getting it 3 days early and you're paying how much more money?
So I usually don't do early access. The last time I did early access was for Starfield, and it was $30. And it came with other things.
Yeah, it came with other things, and like I guess if you can decorate it with other things,
I specifically got it for the early. I really wanted to play Starfield right away.
Yeah.
I mean, it comes with the first expansion. It comes with other stuff, but like I really wanted to get into Starfield.
Regardless if they're dumb or not for buying, like regardless of your feelings of people who buy early access or like pre-order, it still sucks that like in 3 days you can put in so many hours into a game, and now all of it's gone, and you get a trinket. Start the game over and here's a trinket.
Ty says early access is pre-order. I mean, you have to pre-order it to get it, but like no, it's not the same thing. I don't think it's the same thing. Personally. The same thing happened with Baldur's Gate 3. No one cried about it.
I think
did it? I don't remember hearing about it.
But I think with Baldur's Gate they told you at least.
Well, I mean, that would be different than if they told
I could be wrong, but I think they were like, hey, when this game comes out, you're going to have to start over. Like, there's going to be a patch that... I could be wrong about that.
I don't know.
Because I feel like that happens. You play a game early for a beta or something, and they say, hey, this progress isn't going to carry over when the game comes out.
Well, I do have Star Wars Outlaws in my possession, however...
You haven't played it yet.
I haven't played it yet. I don't have thoughts yet, so...
You didn't lose anything.
Yeah, I didn't lose. Nothing lost, nothing gained, you know?
Yeah.
It is what it is. So, we'll see what happens when I end up playing. For now, let's move on to number 4. A pretty meaty topic, but a lot of good information here. Call of Duty Next was last week, and the Black Ops 6 open beta, the first round of it is currently ongoing. I think it ends tomorrow.
Did you watch
I watched most of Call of Duty Next.
Okay.
I am going to use some sources, some websites to kind of recap, and I've also played the beta. So I'll kind of comment on stuff
that's cool.
as we go. By the way, beta, free on Game Pass. My one friend who doesn't understand things, he was like, I can't believe you got to buy the Vault Edition, which is also $100. You got to buy the Vault Edition to get this round of the beta. And I'm like, or just have Game Pass. You know how much I paid? I paid $0. Good job, Xbox. See, this is a good call right here. It's like, this is for like the Vault Edition people and Game Pass. As a Game Pass customer, I feel like a valued Xbox customer today.
It's very smart.
It's been a minute. Side. Xbox has me feeling like a valued customer. I appreciate it.
They should do that more demos and more early access stuff for Game Pass.
Absolutely, this is I think this is really smart by them. But let's just talk about the game itself. So COD Next officially premiered on August 28th, showcasing Black Ops 6. They showed off the Omni movement, which is really the big change to the Call of Duty gameplay.
Well, there's two. There's the Omni movement and there's the other movement.
Oh yeah, the like the auto mantle.
Yeah,
which I didn't personally use.
But did you use the Omni movement?
Well, you have to. I mean,
okay.
I've
seen gameplay and it's like you have to use it. It seems like
it's not that you have to use it, but it's just like it's there. Like you'll do it by accident. Even I feel like.
Yeah. Okay.
So the Omni movement, for those who don't know, it's the new feature in Call of Duty where usually in the past you could sprint forward, or you could dive forward, you could slide forward. Now, you can sprint in any direction. You can slide in any direction. You can run backwards. You can slide to the left. You can dolphin dive to the right. You can They really are up in their game with the movement. They have a new way of proning, where if you go prone and you turn around,
you're like
it's
on your
360.
back. Yeah.
It's 360 aiming.
You switch from your belly
prone.
to your back. And
Yeah,
like, I've seen that. That's cool.
So this was a big thing that they showed off with the gameplay, and I've played Black Ops 6 beta. My thoughts on the Omni movement are that
I imagine the learning curve is probably.
I wouldn't say it's like even a crazy learning curve. It's just the type of thing where it's like for me, as someone who's been playing Call of Duty, like literally, I've played all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I've been around since like COD 4. It's like your brain is hardwired to I run forward, I slide forward, you move forward.
Yeah.
Whereas like now it's like, hey, you need to like change your methodology and how you move in the space, because instead of turning right, running straight, turning left, running straight, it's like, let me run right / forward, and I'll go around the corner, not lose momentum, and still be looking for danger.
That's cool.
It is cool, and there's a lot of cool things with it, and as time goes on, I'm sure I'll get more used to it.
Yeah, that's what I meant by the learning curve. Like, you just got to get used to.
Yeah. Now, there has been a lot of stuff. I haven't personally ran into it being too bad yet, but there's a lot of like TikToks and online like clips.
I saw this one video of this guy just like diving and flipping and like just shooting people, and no one could touch him.
Yeah, so my big concern with it is those people.
Yeah.
I think what you're going to see is I think it has a potential to be overpowered for mouse and keyboard players. I don't know. I got to give it some time. I got to see like when the full game comes out how I feel about it. Right now, I don't mind it too much because it didn't seem like it was too much of an issue. But, come October, November, and I'm deep in it, and like millions of people are playing, is there a chance that like it becomes to be annoying? I could totally see it that way though.
But I almost feel like that, like if you get really skilled with any movement in like a Call of Duty game, you kind of have an advantage. This is just more.
Yes, but I mean, like also,
like, remember
if you turn your sensitivity
wall running
up,
and stuff like that. Like, people who got really good at that had an advantage.
Yeah, that's fair. Other than that, in terms of the multiplayer, there was like little things they talked about. Talked about prestiging being classic prestige again. Really liked that.
Yeah.
Talked about weapon attachments, and this time around, usually weapon attachments are like a pro-con type thing where it's like, hey, this attachment, here's the pro that it does for your gun, but here's the con it does for your gun. This time around, they're trying a different system where there's less cons.
Okay.
So it's more like, hey, where do you
attachment.
want to build your gun up at? And there's not a lot of like takeaways from it.
That's cool.
Now, on the flip side of it, they make you choose only 5 attachments, which I think is a really nice balance to it. My buddy I was playing with, he didn't like that balance, but I think your mileage will vary whether you like that or not. I liked it personally. They also talked about the maps. The game is going to launch in October with 16 maps, which is a very nice number. Anything over 12 is usually, I think, you got to go for. If you're a serious multiplayer game, like I need variety, and I think that they're really going to nail it here. In the beta, though, there's only 8 maps. I would say I like half of them. There's like one map, Scud. So something that they were talking about with Call of Duty, and for those that don't know, the way Call of Duty map design works is that they go off of a 3-lane system, where it's like you have a map and there's 3 lanes of traffic that you can go through, and you'll have your firefights on those 3 lanes, and there's like little paths that connect the 3 lanes together. I like that map design. Mm-hmm. I really like it, and when Call of Duty strays away from it, I usually like Call of Duty less. And so this time around, they're like, hey, we're doing the 3-lane thing. It's going to be our focus point for the maps. For me...
Is it 6v6?
Yes.
Okay.
For me, Scud, which is the one map I don't like, it's that one right there, in the middle. That map, for me, like, I see where the 3 lanes are, but I don't like it. I don't think it's a very good map. Other than that, I like the other maps that I played on. Skyline's pretty good. I'm trying to think which else was in the beta. Rewind is probably my favorite from the beta so far. That one was good.
Is it typical to have 16 new maps with a launch?
I think most years they strive for that. I think 12 to 16 is the number usually. But I'm pretty happy with the 16, like I said. Something else that was shown off at Call of Duty Next and also available in the beta was a new mode called Kill Order. So basically, every team in Kill Order, you have a high value target in HVT. That player, the HVT, you have to protect that player while trying to kill the other team's HVT. Now, when you kill the HVT, you just get assigned a new one, and the points kind of build that way. I played like 3 or 4 games of it. I believe that the points go up for just killing other players too, but you get bonus points for killing the HVT. Or maybe it's the HVT staying alive. I haven't played enough of it. I played like 3 or 4 games, but I really enjoyed my time with it. Thought that was a really good mode. If you happen to hop into the beta, I definitely recommend it. It's a really cool mode. Domination brought back objectives and hardpoints, adding numbers to object icons to make callouts easier. Overall, I think Call of Duty Next did a pretty good job getting people excited for the multiplayer aspect, and I enjoyed playing it in the beta. I'm looking forward to the launch. Now, we have other Call of Duty news, stuff that I did not play in the beta because it's just multiplayer. Other things that were announced was that Verdansk is coming back to Warzone in spring 2025. Let's see. Yeah, so it's coming back 2025. They don't give us any other date or anything like that. I remember not liking Verdansk.
I mean, is that another map?
That was the original Warzone map.
Okay.
That was the first one for Warzone.
Gotcha.
I remember not liking it, but that was coming off of Blackout, which nothing Call of Duty has done compares to Blackout since, in my opinion. So a lot of players are going to be very happy about Verdansk coming back. A lot of players really like it. Although I do wonder if a lot of that is like pandemic nostalgia, because a lot of people spent a lot of time on Verdansk during the pandemic. So we'll see. There was also a deep dive for Black Ops 6 Zombies. So Black Ops 6 Zombies is launching with 2 maps, Liberty Falls and Terminus Island, featuring the return of round-based gameplay, which is great. In the West Virginian town of Liberty Falls, players will find a built-out world that highlights stories of people who once lived there. Moreover, there will be some side quests as well across both maps. The Black Ops 6 Zombies devs embraced the 90s and nostalgia in Liberty Falls, bringing elements such as a comic shop, video store, bowling alley, and more to that world. Additionally, the vibes of Liberty Falls and Terminus are very different, with the former feeling deceptively safe at first, and the latter being dark and gloomy throughout. There are new weapons and tools. The Thrustodyne M23 will help you quickly mow down the undead. Another addition is the Wonderwaff DG2. Oh, that's not new. That's just that's a returning weapon. I'm not sure why Insider Gaming puts that as a new one, because it's not. But again, a lot of really fun stuff coming out of Zombies. The gameplay I saw from Zombies has me really excited. There's additional update and a quality of life improvements, such as save and quit in solo matches. That's crazy. Like save and quit in Zombies.
For solo matches, yeah.
That's never been a thing.
Okay.
You literally, you're playing, you're on your run, and then whenever you're dead, whenever you quit, like that's game over for you. So that's crazy in and of itself. Joining a friend's match progress at any time. That's another one where there's a lot of trauma from back in the day when, like, God forbid,
into a game. And...
Well, no, God forbid that somebody's internet went out. If you got disconnected from a Zombies game, you're on wave 100 doing the Shinonuma thing, you know what I mean? Like, you're done. I remember we were on our best run ever. This is in high school, and I was playing with. I mean, you definitely would have known everybody I was playing with because they were in our class.
Okay.
And then somebody, I forget who it was, but one of them got disconnected. We were in Shinonuma. We were doing the doctor's quarters. That means nothing to you, but
yeah.
We were doing the doctor's quarters thing where we were holding out and like.
I imagine losing that one person.
Well, so because we were all watching different directions, and the one person disconnected, and
gotcha.
Then his side fucking swarmed us, and we died, and then we were like, oh no, like that was the best run we've ever done, and so to be able to like say like, hey, maybe there's a chance you can get back in and save your guys. I think that's
cool.
That's really cool. Let's see what else was added. Also, the developers revealed that door costs can now be shared between players. That's really cool. Armor can be purchased through wall buys in Terminus Island and Liberty Falls. Player-specific drops will be introduced, and self-revive will be limited to 3. All that really makes sense. I'm really excited for this. I loved the Liberty Falls showing. Like, I think that it looks really cool. I'm also really into Terminus Island. This is something I'm very excited for come October 26th.
All right.
Zombies is always low-key, like, really, really good. Like if you know zombies, you know how good it is. If you don't know zombies, like you're missing out.
Did they show any gameplay for zombies or anything
like
that? They
did show a little bit of gameplay, yes.
Okay.
And again, it looks really good. Other things Warzone related. Area 99 is going to be a new resurgence map in Warzone. It's going to kind of tie into Nuketown, which is legendary Call of Duty Black Ops map. Resurgence is something I'm not really a big fan of. It's kind of like a cross between Warzone and multiplayer, but I mean, I think Warzone's kind of gotten too multiplayer-y for my taste in recent years. And then big Warzone changes coming soon. Well, not soon, when Black Ops 6 launches. Basically, all the Omni movement and stuff is going to be coming to Warzone.
Okay.
Along with all the maps, stack of updates coming. Every weapon from Black Ops 6. So when Black Ops 6 comes out, Warzone's going to get a crap ton of updates.
That's cool.
Yeah. And that was pretty much it for Call of Duty. Next, again, it was a really good showing for them. I think Black Ops 6 looks like a lot of fun. If you can get in with your squad, definitely get in on the beta. I think the beta period closes in like a day or two, but it'll be open next weekend again.
Are you going to play it next weekend as well?
There's a good chance. The problem is I'm really trying to get through Octopath. Gotcha. So like if someone hits me up, like I'll jump on. Yeah, so like I've played a little bit. I think I'm like level 10 or 11, so like not a lot of time spent on it, but a good amount. So yeah. Number 5 on the headlines. Square Enix's future on Xbox. The director of Final Fantasy XIV, Naoki Yoshida, declared, "We would like to release more Square Enix games on Xbox, and there will be more of our titles released there." This was kind of just a double down statement from him, saying that he's with Final Fantasy XIV as an opportunity, we could take this opportunity to strengthen the community on Xbox towards the Final Fantasy franchise. I think this is where we would take more communication and work on establishing the community moving forward. And this is important, not for Final Fantasy XIV, but I would say for Square Enix. With Final Fantasy XIV's release on Xbox, Phil Spencer spent a lot of time and effort and put in a lot of hard work into making it a reality. So, we would like to make the best of that and further deepen the relationship with Xbox gamers moving forward. Promising words from the director. On Friday's episode of the Xbox 2 podcast, Jez said that any Final Fantasy games currently not on Xbox are slated for Xbox, according to his sources.
Okay, cool.
That includes Final Fantasy VII Remake. He doesn't have timetables on these games, but he said his source is very excited about it. So, Jez said, by association, he's also very excited about it. My thoughts on this are real simple, and we've talked about it. Give me what I want. I want all the Final Fantasy games on Xbox. I want 7 Remake. I want to get the achievements for it. I'm going to get on there day one. I want the Pixel remasters. I want 1 through 6, which again, Jez said, any Final Fantasy game that's currently not on Xbox is slated for the release. Okay. So that's, by doing, if he said every game, that's the Pixel remasters, which is 1 through 6. 7, 8, and 9, the originals are on Xbox already. But, I think actually 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 as well. So, yeah, there's, the first 6 games and, the last 3 games.
Okay.
So, I'm excited. Cannot wait. Other good news on the Xbox front. Surprise, Capcom figured out how to put their games on Xbox. Marvel vs. Capcom and Capcom Fighting Game 2 Collection are on the way. We had some news about... Oh, sorry. So this is from Windows Central. This first paragraph is about a news story coming later. We'll talk about that then. But Xbox fighting games fans rejoice. Microsoft and Capcom have worked out a path forward for Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics and Capcom Fighting Collection 2 to hit upcoming Xbox games lists. Over the summer, Capcom announced that these games were coming to PS5 and Switch, but due to a rollback netcode issue, they were not able to come to Xbox, but they figured it out. So Capcom Fighting 2 Collection incorporates 8 classic fighting games, and the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection arcade package includes 7 other games. So Capcom is really putting out all their fighting.
Yeah.
There's 15 games between these 2 collections.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's really awesome that Capcom was able to figure it out, and yeah, I'm excited. I might get the Marvel vs. Capcom collection. All right. Next up, number 7. I guess I probably should have done these the other way around for chronological sake. Another game is skipping Xbox. I know we just talked about all these games coming to Xbox.
Yeah.
But now we have another game that is skipping Xbox.
For a dumb reason, in my opinion. But...
Oh, it's a completely ridiculous reason. What? Dumb reason, Deborah? What are you talking about? Dumb reason.
It feels dumber than the other reasons.
Oh, no, it's very dumb. It's very dumb. I just need to drink some water. So, this was yesterday. So, it's Monday. So, that means another game is skipping Xbox. Microsoft hasn't had much luck controlling the narrative surrounding its console platform. Microsoft revealed that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is coming to PS5 as part of a hyped-up One More Thing announcement at Gamescom. The snafu fanned flames behind the idea that Microsoft is purposely undermining its series platforms, coupled with its no console-needed marketing campaign for the xCloud. Additionally, Black Myth Wukong has its issue going on right now that we talked about earlier. And big publishers like Capcom have skipped over Xbox. That part's not super accurate at this point. But now, another game is skipping Xbox in a pretty spectacular way, says Windows Central. Ty says, sent Capcom the bag. Like I said, the trade for the shareholders was Starfield for PlayStation. Listen. Hold on. What are we doing here? What's going on here? Ty?
Don't do it.
Ty?
Don't do it.
Take 60 seconds off, man.
Oh, man.
Take 60 seconds. My takeaway, I said this earlier in the Discord, but to just briefly go back to the Capcom thing. Bullying corporations work. And we should always bully corporations. We gave them shit, and they figured it out. Keep giving them shit, they'll figure shit out. Good. Love it. Anyways. Ty has a lot of money, but money can't buy him time on our YouTube channel. That's for sure. I'll put his ass in time out. Unless he pays me. In which case he can say whatever he wants. But he hasn't paid me yet. Anyways. Back on topic. In Inotria, the last song, is an upcoming Souls-like, heavily inspired by Italian and European folklore. The game is set to launch on September 19th for Xbox, PC, and PS5. Or at least it was. The game is now exclusively not coming to Xbox, per a statement on the game's website. Quote, unfortunately, at this time, we have to announce an indefinite delay of the Xbox version. We understand how disappointing this news is to the Xbox community. Unfortunately, despite our best efforts and the hard work of our dedicated team, we encounter challenges that have delayed our release on the Xbox platform. We want to emphasize this is not a decision we've made lightly. We apologize for any disappointment this may cause and sincerely thank you for your understanding and patience. As a self-published indie studio, your support means everything to us. We are dedicated to bringing Inotria to as many players as possible. Immediately, the internet began to speculate that the Series S is the problem, which has long been a thing of contention. We've talked about it here. However, a community manager... Oh, wait, hold on. Okay. However, the developer seemed to suggest that the Xbox Series S was in fact not to blame on their Discord community server. Instead, they blamed Microsoft itself. A community manager known as Kritora said, "We are calm," in response to fan question speculation. "I think this person is coming up with their own conclusions based on nothing, because we never mentioned the Series S and we are not paid by Sony." See how nice it is just to come out and say it? Just be like, hey, look.
But are they telling the truth? That's another thing
we have to... Calling them liars?
I'm not calling them truthers. I'm just saying, are they telling the truth about that?
Anyways.
Do you think they're not paid by Sony to take...
Hold on. So Giamma Games CEO Jackie Greco had some stern words to share on the matter. You can ask Xbox why they haven't answered us for 2 months. Obviously, they don't care about Inotria, and they don't care about you. The context is open a store page and submission. We've Xbox Series XS version ready, but we can't proceed with submission and release. I spent a lot of money for porting, and they decided to ignore us.
Okay.
Microsoft has undoubtedly worked hard to improve the general support of Xbox from smaller game developers over the years, according to Windows Central. Trying to see...
I'm starting to see a pattern here, though.
Yeah, there is. It seems like... So, basically, this comes down to an issue with the storefront. Like, the developer said on Twitter that the game runs fine on the Series X and S. It is not a problem with it how it's running. They've openly said that. They've said, we do not have an issue with the hardware. We don't have an issue with the Series S. Mm-hmm. We don't have an issue with any of that stuff. It's strictly on Microsoft. We're trying to open our store page on their storefront, and it's not letting us, and they won't answer our emails. We haven't heard from them in 2 months. Mm-hmm. Now, we did talk about a studio like this last week.
Yeah.
And how the studio reacts depends on how I'll feel about it, because, again, the difference between this studio and the one last week is the one last week got help and then decided to be a Karen about it and be like, well, now I don't want your help. I'm just going to go bitch about it. It's like, okay, well, it seems like Xbox tried to make it right. Like, you accomplished your goal. You've raised awareness, and now you've gotten what you wanted, and then you turn around and do that. So hopefully this developer isn't the same way. Ty says he thinks it is fair for this developer to be upset. Just don't post screenshots. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
don't do what the studio last week did. Which, to be fair, at this point, they haven't. Insider Gaming spoke a little bit further to the CEO, a little bit more in depth about the issues. The TLDR answer is that the game has been postponed due to a lack of communication from Xbox regarding an issue where the developer cannot open its store page and submit the game. Greco tells Insider Gaming that the issue has nothing to do with hardware limitations of the Series S. In fact, he assures you that it runs just fine. Greco says the company has had the issue for months, not allowing them to create the store page, and has been back and forth with various Xbox support teams and people. Still, none of them have figured out the issue and have admitted the problem is on their end. In the end, Diama Games' requests eventually fell on deaf ears, meaning that they had to postpone the Xbox version. It remains to be seen whether Xbox will resolve this issue so that Anatria can be released soon, but Greco said, we will do our best to make the release on Xbox as soon as we can. So, Insider Gaming reached out to Xbox for comment. They do not have a comment at this time. This sounds like something really simple that I think they need to get involved in. And there has been a common thread, it seems like, with Xbox, and I do worry, I said this on Twitter the other day, but I do worry that Xbox has kind of lost the vision. It's where it's just like, look, if you want to be everywhere, that's fine, but like,
the management
it just seems like you don't care about your own platform at this point.
Yeah, the management is not there.
Little issues, little things, like all of these things that we're talking about, like the Capcom games. Like, yes, these are ports of like 20-plus-year-old games. Like, yes, this is a small indie studio. These are all, in terms of like us as gamers, as consumers, these are all relatively little things, but it's like, it's the pile, how it piles up, where it's just like, oh man, Indiana Jones is coming to PlayStation. Indie games aren't able to open up storefronts and nobody's helping them. You know what I mean? Like, and like the Capcom games before today, like the Capcom game issue, which is just weird that it's such an issue. It's like, it just keeps going. Ty called you silly. He said, another PlayStation Time exclusive? Silly. Wow, you're gonna let him talk to you like that? Calling you silly for you not trusting them?
Crazy. Wait, what do you mean?
He said, another PlayStation Timed exclusive? Silly. He called you silly.
Yeah, but this time they didn't even pay for it.
That's true. PlayStation's like, we don't have to pay for this? It's free?
Yeah.
They're like, Wukong, they're like, can we get our money back? And they're like, no, the Xbox version is still broken.
Even if they were paying for it, I mean, at least one of the competitors is like trying to sell their console. You know what I mean?
That's true, yeah. I don't know. Let's move on. Number 8. A new Zelda trailer came out this week. I'm excited. I don't know if we can talk about it. Deborah was mad that I was watching it when he came in today.
I'm already sold on the game. I don't need to see anymore.
Yeah. Well, there's kind of world hopping.
Yeah, I'm playing it now.
You go through the rifts, which we already knew they were a thing from the reveal trailer.
Yeah.
But you can go through the rifts to get to the still world. They also show that Zelda can get a sword, and they have like which I was like, thank God, because when they showed this gameplay off, my thought was, so what do you do when you're like in combat and like you have like the things fighting for you? Do you just like stand there?
Yeah.
Like what's the plan here? But like no, you can get involved, which I think is a good idea. So yeah, comes out September 26th, I think, right? That's the right date? Maybe? Yeah, September 26th. I'm very excited. Amazon does not have a pre-order for this yet, so I don't know what I'm doing. Because usually, the thing is, I pre-order on Amazon because they don't charge you until it ships. And so, like, that way, like, I don't have to put any money down. So I'm fine with it. If I hear bad news, I just go on Amazon and cancel it. I don't pay a cent.
Yeah.
However, there's no thing on there. Surely this game will be good, right? It's a Zelda game. First party is a Zelda game.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great. I'm gonna pre-order it. I gotta go to GameStop. More on GameStop later. Number 9, Dev, something hopefully that'll make you happy. A Penguin game set in the Batman universe is coming, it's claimed. According to a new report via Puck, WB could be working on a new game based on the Penguin that is set in Matt Reeves' popular The Batman universe. The report claims that various WBD divisions are beginning to collaborate more closely on properties like the upcoming Penguin show, both seated in the 2022 Batman movie and the game. They add that when Zaslav took over, many advised him to offload games, but Zaslav still sees the games unit as strategic. So yeah, we could possibly be getting a Batman game based in the Batman universe.
I don't even know how that plays. Playing as Penguin?
Is it like
a mafia style game?
Yeah, I don't know.
Sounds like a shooter.
Let's try to be excited for now, but we'll see what happens. It's not even an official announcement. It's just a rumor.
Yeah.
Number 10, really interesting story that happened this past week. Sony is jacking up the prices of the PS5 in Japan on September 2nd, so as of yesterday. Both models are going up by 13,000 yen, which is $90.
Damn.
This is the third PS5 console price hike in Japan since the launch in 2020. And this, my friends, is what happens when you have a monopoly in the console space.
They're killing.
They're in Japan. They're like, Xbox isn't doing anything.
They're also selling out too.
Yeah, so they're like, all right, we'll charge you $90 more.
Yeah, they're playing the supply and demand game, which, like, you know what I mean. Do your thing, but
yeah. So my question is like, what do they do when like the PS5 Pro comes out, which we know is a thing? It's like, if you're charging $90 more for a base PS5,
I think the price has to go back down.
Oh, it's not going to go back down. I don't think so. Why would you raise a price to lower the price? It doesn't make sense.
Grab the cash while you can.
Ty, talk money, Ty. They're not going to raise the price by $90 and then 2 months from now when the PS5 Pro comes out, lower it back down. They're not doing
it. It's also around Christmas time. Yeah, I can definitely see them doing that.
I don't think they're doing that. I would be very surprised.
You raise it by 90, you drop it by 40, call it a sale?
I don't think so. But something interesting that happened is when they raised the prices on the PS5, Xbox consoles soared up the sales charts in Japan. Sony's recent announcement of the PS5 price increase in Japan seemed to have sent some Japanese gamers rushing to Microsoft instead. Xbox Series X sales have soared recently. Others have rushed out to grab a PS5 before the prices went up in Japan. On September 2nd, the disc edition... Oh, okay, so that was the price stuff. We already talked about that. On Yodobashi, one of Japan's biggest electronics retailers, the Xbox Series X console shot up to the number 8 spot in games and consoles. On the previous day, it wasn't even in the top 100. So it went from not even being in the top 100 to being number 8 best-selling in games.
That's crazy.
Sales of all PS5 consoles have been halted across major retailers in Japan, as the pre-price rise stock is sold out. At the time of the writing, Yodobashi is also out of Xbox Series X stock, so they sold out of their stock that they had. So yeah, it seems like Xbox is doing pretty good. Social media was swamped with reactions to the price raise since it was announced, with PS5 price increase becoming a popular hashtag on Twitter in Japan. People have been reporting successfully buying the consoles, while others were disappointed to find they were already out of stock. Many Japanese users mentioned the upcoming Monster Hunter Wilds game as their reason for wanting one. Quote, I planned to get a PS5 in September for the new Monster Hunter, but then the price went up. I went to the store and they were already sold out. This price increase is really going to hurt my friend who was saving for a PS5.
Yeah.
Monster Hunter Wilds is also coming to Xbox and PC, however, which have prompted some consumers to change their console buying plans. Xbox Series is not low priced, but it's starting to look low priced, said one user. PS5 is going to be 80,000 yen. Better buy a PC instead has become a hot topic, but some people overlooking the fact that you can get an Xbox Series X for approximately 67,000 yen. So on social media in Japan, a lot of people are like, we really want to play the new Monster Hunter game, and this Xbox is cheaper than the PlayStation by a good amount.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hey, again,
it works out for both companies.
There, yeah, but that right there, like this news story is exactly why you want competition in the platform space. Yeah. Because what happened? PlayStation did something that the consumer didn't want, so they like, and we're talking like this is really out of like that behavioral consuming over there. Where like Xbox like hasn't really had much of a strong footing. The Series X is the best selling Xbox, platform in Japan. But like Xbox's numbers that they do, they said last year at Tokyo Game Show, where they said that Xbox's big unit, like the big thing that Xbox does is PC Game Pass. Like that's where a lot of their numbers are with Japan. But it's like, you see it right here. The consumers didn't like the price raise, and they wanted to play the new game, so they went out and bought an Xbox. And I think that's...
Well, they bought an Xbox because they couldn't buy a PlayStation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's very true. But also, both of them sold out because of the price raise that was coming. Because the consumers didn't want to pay that higher price.
Yeah.
So...
I also, at this point, if I didn't get a PlayStation and I still want one, I'm just going to save up a little bit more and get a Pro that's coming out this year.
I mean, everybody's different. Well, the Pros, I don't even want to know what the Pro's going to cost. The Pro might be in the $600 range. Yeah. I don't know. That's going to be a hard sell. With a Nintendo console coming out next year? I don't know.
Ty says he over here, he's worried about the Nintendo Switch, which I think that's the safest one out of all. Like, you're going to get... if Xbox comes out with a Pro and you got the PlayStation Pro and you have the Switch, the Super Switch... I'm least worried about the Super Switch. You know what I mean? Like, that's going to sell hundreds of millions.
Ty, I'm not going to lie to you. That's so silly.
Yeah, that's the safest one.
I'm giving you 10 seconds. You're getting 10 seconds. Like, it's just 10 seconds. It's just 10 seconds. That was such a silly thing to say that you're worried about the new Switch. I don't even know what it was. It's lost forever. That's what you get for being silly. Don't be a silly goose.
But no, I think we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I think both Pro consoles, on at least on Xbox and PlayStation, will suffer a little bit.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Number 11 in the headlines, a rumor that's been going around the past week. Microsoft might be working on 2 Transformers-related projects. Transformer-focused website TFW 2005 has reported that Microsoft is working on 2 projects, as I just said. We have received some intel stating that Microsoft Studios is working on not 1, but 2 video game projects, simply codenamed Transformers. While we don't have any information at the moment, both projects seem to be targeting this year for their release. It's interesting that Microsoft now owns Activision Blizzard, considering that was the publisher that put out multiple Transformers-related titles, including War for Cybertron and its follow-up, Fall of Cybertron.
Are those games on Game Pass?
They are not yet.
Yeah, they need to be.
Activision needs to get its stuff together. We need to get more of these games. But that's just kind of a rumor going around that we might get these games. I hope we do. We actually have another story. I don't know if it's next or not. No, it's not next, but it's coming up soon. Number 12 on the headlines. GameStop in the headlines. So I'm on Twitter last week, Dev, and I'm scrolling, and I see this tweet from GameStop, and it says, "The classics are back. New retro GameStops are now spawning near you." And I see it, and I see the retro design, and they put up a picture with all of these games for these platforms, and I'm like,
you sent that to the Discord.
I was like, is this how GameStop tries to stay relevant? Are they going to kind of look back and say hey, we're going to start selling older games again in our stores? GameStop's been selling retro games on their website for years now. I did some in the field research.
Uh-oh.
So I went on and I went on the GameStop website, and it turns out that the one closest to us right now is one of the retro stores. So on Saturday morning, I woke up.
This is about to be a sad story. But go ahead.
Bright eye, bushy tail. I was like, is today the day? I got dressed.
I like your get dressed animation.
Gave my wife a pat on the head and a kiss on the cheek, and she laid in bed. She's like, "So where are you going?" I was like, "I'm going to GameStop." She's like, "What?" I'm like, "All right, I'll see you later." It's like, "Don't worry about me." I got in my car, I drove over, I walked it. I drove up to the GameStop. So number one, let me tell you what I expected. So when I'm looking at this GameStop tweet, right? They're showing you this new logo.
Yeah, you were expecting a whole redesign. That's what I would have been
expecting. Right? Well, I mean, if you look at it, it's like new retro GameStops are now spawning near you.
Yeah, I would have imagined a whole redesign.
What's up to Jeff in the chat? Yeah, Jeff, we had talked about Concord a little bit earlier. Biggest loss is... Do we think it's the largest loss of revenue in gaming history?
No, definitely not.
I don't know if it's the largest loss of revenue. I mean, I don't know, man. It didn't sell any copies. It sold 25,000 copies. They worked on that game for 6-7 years.
I think it's up there, but I don't know if it's the biggest loss.
The question is how much money was sunk into the development of the game. I think that's really what the deciding factor of that is. I do think it's the biggest failure that PlayStation's had, maybe outside the PSVR 2. It's one of the biggest first-party titles to ever flop for a first-party game. I'll tell you that much. But so with GameStop Retro, we're looking at this. The tweet makes it seem like it's this new thing. I pull up, it looks like a regular-ass GameStop. And I'm like, oh no. Not good. The vibes are not good. Now, I will say this, actually, before I tell my story. This GameStop, I have cited as the worst GameStop I've ever been to. Right? So, I've had bad experiences here. Every bad story I've ever told on this podcast is about GameStop.
Came from that one?
From that GameStop. So, I already was kind of like, okay, well, they're clearly doing something different, so I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. Ty says, estimated to have cost... So, Jeff says it was $250 million to make. Ty says, it cost Sony $200 million. Huge loss, but worse loss, not sure. Kingdoms of Amalur was a huge loss. That was a huge loss. Definitely. So GameStop Retro, I go into GameStop. I walk inside, and when I tell you, it was a regular ass GameStop, to a T.
You couldn't see anything retro related.
There was no. At first, I didn't even think. I was like, "Am I at the wrong store?" Because I walk in and there's no signage. Keep in mind, so this tweet was on August 27th. So how many?
Last week.
Last week. So to be exact, because I want to give an exact number of days, right? So 7 days. I went on Saturday, so we're talking 5 days after the official announcement. Mm-hmm. They had no signage. They had no thing of any so I'm walking around and I'm like, I'm already here. I don't want to be a weirdo who just walks in, turns around, walks out. So let me just do a walk through of the store, see if I missed any. Maybe there's stuff. Now they did have stuff.
Did you talk to the associates about the retro?
I was going to, but then someone else that was in there actually asked, so I just kind of
listened in.
I just eavesdropped.
Okay.
Where the guy was like, "Do you guys have any of the retro? I heard you guys are the retro store now." And they're like, "Yeah, what we have over there is what we have right now." And the guy went over and looked, and I'll tell you what I saw when I went over. But he's like, "Oh, I was kind of hoping for some older games, like maybe 8-bit, 16-bit, or something like that." And they're like, they assured him that they had it in stock, but it sold out quickly. Which I could give them the benefit of the doubt on that. I wasn't there. It's 5 days after they made the announcement. Is it possible that they had this stock and sold out of it?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. They also said that there's a good chance that they're going to get more stuff like that in. Am I going to keep going back to this GameStop to check? Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
But so I go over to this. It's a very small part of the wall. Extremely small. As much as people give Xbox a hard time for not doing a lot of physical sales, it was a quarter of the size of the Xbox.
What did it say? They say Dreamcast, and it was
It didn't even say anything. It was just games on a shelf. And I'm looking at it, and it. So what I saw there, I saw a good amount of 360 games.
Okay.
Some PS3 games. A handful of Wii shovelware games, a handful of Wii U shovelware games, and a few cases that clearly, I don't know if they were games that didn't have the case or if they were other games, but it was a very underwhelming thing. The only positive I'd say about it is if you were looking for Xbox 360 games, there was a decent selection there. They made sure to have one of every Call of Duty. They made sure that I saw Left 4 Dead, I saw BioShock. I don't know, I didn't see BioShock. But I saw there were some good 360 games there. Okay. But in terms of the experience, it was I would, if you're asking me to give it a grade, it's an F-. It's just there's no fanfare, there's no signage, there's no pop, there's no the selection was really not good, because here's the thing, right? If you're bringing in these the retro crowd and you're asking them, "Whoa, well, on here, what do you see that you really care about?" I definitely care about the 360. I don't want to say I don't. But, you're looking for this right here.
Yeah.
And there was not any, Nintendo stuff. There was no NES, SNES, Game Boy Advance, N64, GameCube. That's what I was looking for. I was hoping to go in there and see some GameCube stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything.
I don't think there's anyone that's going to do it as well as, mom and pop gaming shops.
Definitely not. Yeah,
there's no way they're going to be able to beat that. It sounds like to me they were like, "Hey, you know that box you have in the back of games that we had told you to take off shelves and you just had that dusty box? Mm-hmm. Put them back on the shelves. We're retro now." That's what it sounds like they did.
Yeah, it's just very low effort, very disappointing. I mean, if I'm ever at a mall, I walk into a GameStop just to see what they have. Yeah, but I mean, very disappointed. So I don't know how well it's gonna work for them. Next up, it seems like the link I had got messed up, so I don't have the exact news, but there was a possibility. So the Tony Hawk social media stuff updated their graphics over the weekend.
Okay.
Including the copyright at the bottom was for 2024, which you would think that means that there's something new coming or something coming, period.
Yeah.
This could be something or it could be nothing. Tony Hawk's 25th anniversary is coming up.
Okay.
That would make a lot of sense for Xbox, who owns Activision,
Yeah.
to put all the games on Game Pass because it's the 25th anniversary of Tony Hawk.
Or at least put like the collector edition on Game Pass, right? Is that on there?
No, none of it.
Yeah.
Again, we've talked about Xbox has done a really poor job putting the Activision games on Game Pass. And if you're updating your graphics and you're about to celebrate the 25th anniversary, like, just put all the games on Game Pass. Put all of them on Game Pass. Pro Skaters 1 through 4, and then like do the Thug games and the American Wasteland games and the newer Pro Skater one, and like just call it a day. Put them on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just do it. Enough with the excuses. I'm done with it. But we'll see if that happens. Next up, number 14, Microsoft has partnered with Hoyoverse on a big Xbox Genshin Impact marketing campaign. They say better late than never. Well, few things could represent that statement, like Genshin Impact on Xbox.
Yeah, that's true.
A little while ago, Windows Central wrote an editorial calling out Xbox for missing out on Genshin Impact and the other Hoyoverse games. And then a couple days later, Genshin Impact got announced for Xbox. So Jez Corden was like, I told you. Told you so. Again, at Gamescom 2024, Microsoft and Hoyoverse revealed that Genshin Impact will drop on Xbox on November 20th. Additionally, Genshin Impact on Xbox will have some form of tie-in with Game Pass. Other free-to-play games on Game Pass enjoy added benefits. In the case of Valorant and League of Legends, Xbox and PC Game Pass subscribers get access to the full roster of characters without having to purchase any of them.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's actually really cool.
So maybe Genshin Impact will have something similar. Microsoft and Hoyoverse also want the general public to know that Genshin is coming to Xbox, and a variety of tweets over the past couple of weeks showcases how Xbox is ramping up its marketing for the game. Microsoft has dropped a large banner ad across New York in the United States showcasing the game's pending availability on Xbox, complete with a wishlist QR code. You can already pre-download Genshin Impact on Xbox right now. Additionally, Microsoft UK had a pop-up event in Lancaster Place in London, complete with Genshin Impact cosplayers, hands-on demo units, and even in-game items to pick up. The marketing blitz is similar to Microsoft's efforts around Persona 5 last year, which is another game that notoriously was Xbox absent. It seems the marketing support is one in which Microsoft is able to coax publishers over to the Xbox platform, despite its third-place status in terms of install base. For both parties, it should be a win-win, as a Game Pass tie-in should yield new users for Microsoft, with Hoyoverse gaining access to a potentially fresh audience as it hits saturation levels on its existing platforms. This is really big for both parties,
yeah,
and
definitely.
I hope it works out. I'm going to probably check out Genshin Impact. That's the New York banner right there, hanging up in New York.
Okay.
That's a really big banner.
Yeah.
That's huge. Love it. Next up, number 15. Sticking with Game Pass, we got news about the games coming to Game Pass this week. Available today, September 3rd. Star Trucker. Hop into the driver's seat of your rocket-powered big rig as you haul cargo, scavenge for salvage, and interact with an electric cast of star-hopping truckers in this Americana-infused journey on the ultimate open road, space. I was interested in this game.
Yeah,
the trailer looks pretty good.
Yeah, it sounds cool.
Other things coming soon. Tomorrow, September 4th, a big release for Xbox first party. Age of Mythology Retold comes to cloud, PC, and series. Again, available day one with Game Pass. From the creators of the award-winning Age of Empires franchise, Age of Mythology Retold goes beyond history to a mythical age where gods, monsters, and humans collide, combining the best elements of the beloved Age of Mythology with modern real-time strategy design and visuals. Retold is an epic and innovative experience for old and new players alike. Secure your domain, command legendary monsters, and call upon the power of the gods.
Is this an RTS?
It is.
Okay.
An RTS where, kudos to them, is on PC and console tomorrow.
That's cool.
I think early access started a couple days ago, though. Coming September 5th, Expeditions, a Mud Runner game. Embark on a scientific expedition with this new off-road adventure from the creators of Mud Runner and Snow Runner. Lead research missions, drive a variety of all-terrain vehicles using high-tech tools, and manage your camp and crew to ensure your success in the wild. And then lastly, Riders Republic, coming September 11th.
That's the B-roll I have up now.
I see that. Jump into Riders Republic massive multiplayer playground. From snowy mountains to arid canyons, roam free in the huge open world comprised of iconic U.S. national parks. Grab your bike, skis, and snowboard or wingsuit and explore a sports paradise where the rules are yours to make. This is a great game to come to Game Pass.
Yeah. Very Horizon, but
yeah,
with physical sports.
With bikes.
Yeah, bikes and
snowboard,
skis. And yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. So as the games come to Game Pass this week, no Activision stuff. Real shame. Number 16. Speaking of Activision, Activision and Microsoft are being sued again, but this time from unionized staff at Raven Software.
Oh man!
They say that Activision is stalling over their contract talks with the union. The complaint, as reported by GameFile, alleged that Activision and Microsoft are guilty of refusal to bargain, bad faith bargaining. After Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard, our members were optimistic that they would progress quickly to a first contract at Raven Software. CWA President Claude Cummings Jr. told GameFile. Unfortunately, that has not happened. We encouraged Microsoft to address the concerns raised in the unfair labor practice charge and make reaching a fair agreement a priority. And Microsoft's spokesperson told GameFile, "We are committed to negotiating in good faith." And that was all they said. So this is going to be an ongoing story here where Microsoft was very for them pre-acquisition, and now it seems like they're dragging their feet according to the union. I'm sure Ty has plenty of opinions on the union. We're going to continue on, though. Number 17, layoffs, one of them being at Rocksteady. It's been reported that Rocksteady has laid off over half of its QA department as part of the studio's restructuring. The report comes from Eurogamer, who understands that the QA department has been reduced from 33 to just 15, with the company citing restructuring as its reason. According to the outlet, those affected go beyond just QA staff, with some now former employees reporting on social media that they've also been let go. Lead recruiter at Rocksteady, Alexander Bell, took to LinkedIn to say, "I suspect I've joined a very exclusive cohort of people who have been told their role is eliminated while on paternity leave."
Oh man, that's rough.
In August 2024, Warner Brothers reported the company had seen a 41% decline in gaming revenue year on year. Yeah, so really sucks to see.
I mean, I'm not surprised with the flop of their last game. I'm not really.
Yeah, I think there might be more coming from that studio, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And then other layoffs at Ballistic Moon. They faced layoffs ahead of Until Dawn Remake, which is coming out in October. I believe the number... I thought they had a number on here. Interesting. Yeah, so that studio has been hit with layoffs as well. Number 18, Foam Stars is going free to play. Square Enix game, which was previously being sold in the PlayStation Store for $30, will be free for all users starting on October 4th.
This is another game that should have been free to play to begin with, but...
I mean, I just think it kind of coincides with the Devro is Wrong, where it's like these live service games, they just not doing well.
No, they should just be free to play.
It's a model that you've personally put gotten behind and putting yourself as part, the poster child of, and they just keep not doing well. It's kind of an ongoing thing on today's episode of the podcast alone. Anyways, the game will still be exclusive to Sony's consoles, and that's pretty much it. It's going to go free to play. Number 19, a Bungie director. Bungie, by the way. Developer that Deborah is a big fan of, for what it's worth.
I am.
Well, their Marathon director has been fired for inappropriate conduct.
As he should have been.
The director behind Marathon at Bungie was fired this year due to inappropriate conduct, according to Bloomberg, Chris Barrett was fired from Bungie in the spring after being accused by several female employees of inappropriate behavior. Per the report from Jason Schreier, at least 8 female employees came forward against Barrett to the company. From there, an investigation took place. The investigation discovered that Barrett would call lower-level employees attractive while also asking them to play Truth or Dare. On top of that...
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, no. On top of that, Barrett reportedly flaunted his wealth and power within the company while hinting that he could help people advance their careers. Messages that were sent to Schreier showed requests to hang out with the women involved, as well as texts that were flirtatious. It also said that Barrett's interactions with the women had similar patterns. Barrett would befriend women at the studio in various departments and then send them a barrage of text messages that blurred the lines between professional and personal, Schreier wrote. In a statement given to Bloomberg, Barrett apologized for making people feel uncomfortable while adding that this was never his intention. I feel that I have always conducted myself with integrity and been respectful and supportive.
Yeah, sure you do. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not even going to go any further. That's fine. No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm going to drink my water instead.
Jeez.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, so that happened. That was a thing.
Get him out of here.
Get him out of here. Our last headline for the day. Once again, Devereaux is wrong. Well, the live services are not doing well. XDefiant is on borrowed time as player numbers are rapidly declining. According to several sources at Ubisoft, Ubisoft San Francisco has until the end of Season 3 of XDefiant to improve the game's bleak numbers. Let me just stop right there. Ultimatums never work. It's never a good idea.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. It's like, you guys got until the end of this season. You don't do it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like, I guess you could argue maybe someone...
What season is it on right now? The game just came out.
I think 2.
So they got to the end of the Season 3? I think that's... I like that better than, you're going.
What can you do to fix it in that span of time?
I don't know. That's not up to them to decide. You made the game. Make people want to play your game.
I mean, it's a live service game. People don't want to play live service games.
People don't want to play bad games.
Well, yeah, that's what I said. Live service games.
No, because I feel like
we just said the same exact thing. I don't understand what the problem is.
I feel like if you go to like Twitch or something, like some of the top games are live service games. Like, it's just, I don't know. People are bored of it. You gotta do something new. No one's doing anything new with it.
Well, it's live service games. What can you do?
Sea of Thieves is doing perfectly fine.
Well, I mean, it's an Xbox live service game.
Yeah, Xbox is doing great right now, right?
I did not say that. Hold on. I definitely did not say that. Yeah, hopefully they can get it together, though.
Yeah.
And that is it for the headlines. Real busy week in gaming, but I think we got through it in pretty good time, actually. Let's get into the Game Informer Memorial game releases for the week of September 2nd. First up, Sumerian 6 PC, September 2nd. GT Manager PC, September 3rd. Harry Potter Quidditch Champions, PS5, PS4, Xbox Series, Xbox One, Switch, and PC, today on the 3rd. Star Trucker. So, this is what I'm talking about. So this is why Game Informer was so great. GameSpot, dropping the ball here. Star Trucker comes out today. They have it for PC only. It is, in fact, on Xbox, as we talked about earlier. GameSpot, dropping the ball. I don't even know if this is accurate. Who knows? We're going to keep going, though, I guess. But the casting of Frank Stone comes out today on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC as well. Age of Mythology Retold comes out on Xbox Series, Xbox One, and PC tomorrow on Game Pass as well. Necro King comes out on PC September 4th. Date Alive, Ren Dystopia, PC September 5th. Demon's Mirror, September 5th. Gimmick 2, Switch and PC, September 5th. Star Wave comes out on the Quest, September 5th. What the Car, PC, September 5th. Astrobot, PS5, September 6th. NBA 2K25, PS5, PS4, Xbox Series, Xbox One, Switch, PC, September 6th. And Perennial Order, PS5, Xbox Series, PC, September 6th. Dev, what is your pick for the week?
My favorite game from the PlayStation showcase they had, which is Astrobot.
Okay.
I'm very excited for that game, even though I don't have a PlayStation, but it looks like a very great game. Like,
okay,
awesome platformer.
So I do like to kind of go with a different game. I like when we don't pick the same game, so I am going to pick a different game. Okay. I think Astrobot looks really good. I'm very excited for it. I don't think I'm picking it up this week, but it's going on my wish list. So
okay. You know. If I had to pick a second game, well, I'll let you go first. Go ahead.
So my pick of the week is going to be Age of Mythology Retold.
Okay.
A real big fan of the RTS genre. I actually played one of the Age of Empires games this year. So that is something that I have interest in. I downloaded the Xbox version, but truth be told, I might end up playing it on my laptop because it's an RTS.
Yeah, it's RTS is
probably
better.
Yeah, so that's probably what I'm going to do. But that's my pick of the week. If you had a second, what would your second be?
I don't know if it's a good game or not, but the Quidditch, Hogwarts.
Yeah, Star Trucker looks good though. I mean, that's definitely a game that
I have to watch the trailer for that. I'll
it looks like a very chill experience, which like I enjoy.
I know that I know that trucker games usually are like it's just driving from one spot to the next.
And now you're just doing that in space.
Yeah.
So, so that's gonna pretty much do it for us here at the Game Room Podcast. I guess real quickly we'll talk about what we're playing. So I'm still working on Octopath Traveler. I've made significant progress.
Okay.
I am over the 100-hour mark. And I'm officially in post-game territory, which is stuff that I have not experienced. A whole lot of stuff. This game has so much stuff that I didn't even know existed the first time around. So I'm just kind of, right now, I'm going around the world trying to collect items and stuff that I don't have yet. The achievements are very, like, have every item, open every chest.
Oh, man.
It's very rough. But luckily, this walkthrough on trueachievements.com is absolutely incredible. Probably one of the best walkthroughs I've ever used for a game.
Can you tell from where you're at in the walkthrough, how much you have left? Because it sounds like the stories, the main story stuff you're out of. You're just collecting.
I think it was a 45-page walkthrough, and I'm on 36 of 45.
Okay, yeah.
But I don't know how much is on each page. You know what I mean? Some pages are shorter than others.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. I mean, we're getting there. Again, I passed the 100-hour mark. I'm trying. I remember. I think at the beginning of the walkthrough, it might have said that they calculated it to be like 120 to 140 hours. I keep trying to get more time in, but work's been killing me lately.
I gotcha.
It's terrible. But yeah, are you playing anything right now?
No, nothing yet. Nothing right now. I'm still in the middle of Pikmin.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Nothing really.
All right. Well, we're going to get out of here for the night. Once again, this has been episode 76 of the Game Room Podcast. Thank you for hanging out with us. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Join our Discord in the description below. If you like wrestling, you can check out our other channel in the description as well. The Broken Tables Podcast, which we will be watching in Dynamite tomorrow around 8 p.m. Eastern. 7:45 we get on there. I think Jeff has a little topic planned out for us, so that should be a lot of fun. If you like pro wrestling, come check us out. But until next time, see you guys later.